it's been a really long time since I sat in front of the camera and actually talked to the camera and told a story. So today I'm going to tell you the story on why I haven't posted in a year. No, I'm not pregnant or had a baby or anything like that. Let's not be ridiculous. There's no children in the plans for me. The reason why I left YouTube for so long is because I had the world's most cringy stalker all up in my shit. Grab your popcorn and a Bible. This is gonna be a really long story and really messy too, because there's just too much to talk about. So I met this guy off Bumble, which immediately people are like,
oh my god, no wonder why he's weird. You met him on the internet.
Shut up, I've met plenty of great people on Bumble specifically. But I don't know why I decided to go on a date with this guy. He's not ugly, but he's not really cute, and he kind of gave off broke B vibes because he had like an iPhone 5 in his photos. The only thing I can think of was I was in a vulnerable place because I just had my heart and my tooth broke. So what's a girl to do besides go on a date with a broke uggo? So on our first date, he made us split an entree because I refused to go Dutch on our dates because, I don't know, I'm just not really into that new age feminism stuff. If you are, that's cool. Congratulations. I'm not. I know that should have been a huge red flag for me, that he would not be able to give me what I wanted in a relationship. But again, feeling vulnerable. Predators really know when to target a bitch when they're feeling vulnerable. Plus, I wasn't really sus because he was so nice, and you know, the last guy I went out with was not so nice, so you see where this is going. So basically, as I got to know him more, he went from being this really sweet guy to this total dick. I don't really have like a whole timeline of everything just because it was just all so much, so fast, so much cringe. So here's what I remember the best. By the time Thanksgiving had rolled around, we were officially boyfriend-girlfriend, but I didn't spend it with him because I went over to go see my family. But you know, that's okay because he had called me when he was drunk and told me how much he loves me. But then, on Christmas time, I was in town, and I asked him if I could come over, and he told me no, because he's gonna be with family. And I'm like, well, why can't I go over when you're with your family? I'm your girlfriend. And he had already told me that he loved me so much and he wants to marry me. Like, why can't I meet your family if you love me so much and you want to marry me? And he told me, even though he's apparently ready to get married to me, he wasn't ready for me to meet his family.
What? I
should have just ended things there, but you know, I was still in a bad place from that one incident that happened, so here's to being taken advantage of even more. Cheers! So, Valentine's Day is coming up, and I asked him to be my Valentine, and he tells me no, because I am not dressed like a slut and made up every single time we see each other. This man was literally expecting me to be dolled up and ready to go at 6 a.m. to go get breakfast before he had to go to work or school, or probably to go fucking get his child ready for school. Oops. But yeah, at this point, everything just starts getting like all really abusive and shitty. He tries controlling everything I do, say, and eat. He forced me to eat pork and then tried making me go on an all-meat diet because he's like,
oh, your hypothyroidism is caused because you eat fruits and vegetables.
Like, what the no. He tells me I look like shit and I smell like piss and I'm fucking disgusting. And at this point, I'm over what had happened to me, so I'm kind of, you know, sick of his shit. So I go, why are you with me then? Why do you keep on pursuing me? Why don't you go and find somebody that will match your standards? And he tells me because he's trying to better my life. I did a background search on him, and the results from the search were phenomenal. That's all for this video. You'll find out what happened in the next one. Peace, love, Jesus, and see you next time. Just kidding. Pranks you, prank YouTuber now. So I found out this guy was married, and I searched for his wife's name on Facebook, and I found her profile, and her profile photo is of a baby. So I confront this guy. You know, I don't think I gave him a name yet in this video. What the heck? Who am I? I usually introduce them and I call them Bob. So we're gonna call him Bob. So I confront Bob with this information, and he told me that child is his niece. And the reason why his wife has so many photos of his niece on Facebook is because she just really loves her niece, and that he's only been married for 8 years, and she married him so she could get a green card, and he's gonna leave her after he graduates from college. I asked him if he's at least legally separated from her because, you know, you could be living separately, trying to, you know, divorce in the process. That's okay then to seek a relationship, but, you know, you should tell the person you're dating first because what the fuck. But, you know, his answer is no. He told me he can't leave her because he depends on her financially. And that was it for me. Dramatica. I was done with him at this point. I just wanted a normal monogamous relationship because I'm looking to get married. I'm looking for stability. I'm not looking to be some married man's mistress for 3+ years. And if he bothers me, I'm gonna tell his wife. So I block him on everything. I'm on my merry way. Yeehaw. Should have been the end of the story right there, you know? It's not. There's so much. Holy sh**. I think that's the end. Until I move and I find out that, you know, somehow Bob is conveniently friends with my roommates. Of course, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you here? Blah, blah, blah. And he just brushes it off like as if it's normal to just be friends with my friends that, like, I had no idea he was friends with these friends. Why are you conveniently, of all the people in the world, friends with the person that I'm living with? And so then I try calling Bob's wife to let him know that he is stalking me, and the number that was in that background check that I had performed a few months earlier was either wrong or disconnected because it didn't work. I couldn't get through to her.
So then I tried contacting her on Facebook, and either Bob got to the message first and deleted it, or she ignored it, or she's inactive on Facebook because her last profile picture was from over 10 years ago, so she might not be active on there.
How does his wife not notice any of this? Oh my god, but living with this roommate, I mean, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the things that Bob made me do. So while I was living with her, she works at this place where you just have to take these 6 classes that are available at like any community college, and you can get a job that pays pretty decent. But this job is something I'm not interested in, period. Plus, eventually, I would have to get my whole associate's degree, and I don't think I could just because I really suck at English. But either way, I didn't want this job. I didn't want to work at this place. But Bob forced me to enroll in classes because he wanted me to better myself. And so I was forced to pay out-of-state tuition for classes I didn't even want to take, didn't even do. And I withdrew from them before they even started. And the college is saying that I still owe them money, and I'm still trying to fight that. But oh my god, it's just like, how much can you fuck my life up? Because he's trying to fuck with my credit now. Jeez. And the whole reason for that was so he could mooch off me instead of his wife. But yeah, the fact that he knows where I live and other reasons, I decided to move again because fuck staying there. It's a few months later, I'm all moved into my new place, and I decided to go for a walk because, you know, fresh air will do you good. And while on this little walkie walk, I find myself snatched up and thrown into the back of a car. Guess who it was? It was Bob. You think you'd get the hint by now, but guess not. I don't really know what to do because if I try fighting back, he's probably gonna break my arm because that sounds like a very Bob thing to do. Screaming wouldn't have done me any good either because he'd probably punch me in the face, and there was nobody around to even hear my screams. And if I were to pull out my phone and try to call the police, he would have definitely smashed it. Bob basically kidnapped me to inform me that he loves me so much and he can't live without me. And he needs me in order to function and blah, 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 you know, that bullshit. So I tell him he is stupid because for the whole 15 minutes we were together, he spent half of it criticizing me. And plus, not to mention the whole he's married thing. He tells me then he has a message from his witch friend, Nadia, who is a 100% authentic witch. And the message was, if I didn't do anal with Bob within the next 100 days, I would be cursed forever. My response to that is literally the dumbest thing ever. If you want to do anal so badly, do it with your wife. After all, you're literally married to her. But he tells me it has to do with me because we're like soulmates and we have like some sort of special soul bond and blah, 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 other bullshit. He tries to enforce me to do anal using spit as lube, which, as you can imagine, that didn't work because I'm not an anal queen and spit is not lube. Of course, I'm yelling because, oh my god, it hurts. And Bob's like, look over in the distance, and I look over in the distance and there's like a bobcat or something because we're literally next to mountains. Like, there's mountains here. I think it's bobcats that live here, whatever. There's a large wildcat, and Bob tells me that is, Nadia told me that is the omen that confirms that the curse will happen if I don't actually do anal to his completion within 100 days. And Bob lets me go, and he tells me I need to start training my ass, and that he'll be back. So then I have to move again, and it's gonna be the same old song and dance. So it's months later, and I am checking to make sure that I locked my car door because I have OCD. And he tackles me while I'm on the way to my car, and he may go,
how would you not notice that?
well, first of all, I'm not a very fast person, but also he had blue hair. Was not expecting that. Bob steals my phone and threatens to throw it into the pool unless if I scream out loud about how much of a whore I am, and call my ex-boyfriend and tell my ex-boyfriend that I'm fucking Bob. Like, as if he would care. There's not really much I can do in this situation because it's not like I can call the police when I don't have a phone. So obviously I have to cooperate, and I call my ex-boyfriend and I'm just like, hi, I'm fucking this guy and he has blue hair. And he's like,
what the fuck?
I don't know why, but this satisfies Bob. And he just leaves. And then for the next couple of months, I hear nothing from Bob. Probably because whenever I'd go outside for anything, I'd bring someone with me. The one pro of living with people. You always got someone to come with you. But then one day, my peace ended. I had went to the door to retrieve my Amazon package, and Bob bum rushes me at the door. All I remember at that instant is thinking, oh shit, my cat, because my cat's a curious little guy. He likes to go peep around outside, which, you know, I wouldn't mind, but, you know, cats are destructive to the natural wildlife of things, and also I'm scared of either somebody running him over, kidnapping him and torturing him, or him getting eaten by a coyote or whatever other wildlife's out here. But then, you know, he closes the door, locks it, all that shit, and I'm like, oh my god, it's Bob. And his hair is not only blue, but it's like really shitty, ugly, faded blue. I have a major problem with this because he had such pretty black hair. I really do not understand why he dyed his hair. But I literally do not understand why at this point, this is literally so much later. Why is he still obsessed with me? Like, why? You told me that my pussy smells like pee. Why are you obsessed with me? He starts with calling me a slut and how I'm a cheater because in his head, even though again, we've been broken up for over a year at this point,
he still thinks of us as being together. I don't know why that didn't record originally, but here I am editing that fact, and
Bob forces me to let him on my phone, show him my dating accounts, and it's so fucking weird because while he's on my phone, even though I literally have hundreds of matches because I'm a female, we all have hundreds of matches, he pinpoints to the one guy that I actually had been really liking and had gone out with a couple times. And it's so sad because I really, really like this guy, but then Bob makes me call this guy and tell him that I'm fucking Bob. Otherwise, Bob's gonna read my journal.
Bob really wanted to read my journal because Naughty insisted that I said in my journal that this guy that I like had really good dick. And
I don't know about you, but I'd rather lose a potential guy than have someone read my journal because that's so embarrassing. Nobody reads my journal. Just stay away from my journal, please. So I told my crush that I was fucking Bob and I'm cheating on Bob and Bob is so much better at fucking, and his response is,
oh, I kind of figured you were a slut.
the funny part is, at this point, me and this guy hadn't even had sex. Bob is satisfied with that, so we hang up. Bob then wants me to cuck my crush by sending him a video of me and Bob having sex, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't do that now, I'm on my period, you want to see my pad? And Bob is absolutely disgusted at this offer, at seeing my pad, which is good because I wasn't on my period. Slick, I know. But Bob is very satisfied with the fact that my crush called me a slut. So then he just leaves, and after he leaves and I see him drive off, I call my crush and I'm like, so you'll never guess what happened? And he's like,
yeah, I heard you two arguing before I answered.
which is good because whew, I was genuinely worried he thought I was gonna be fucking a guy with blue hair. But my crush then tells me I need to pack my bags because he's on his way over to pick me up, and I'm like, I don't really want to stay with some guy I barely know, but hey, if I'm gonna be unalived, I'd rather be unalived in the hands of somebody hot. But Bob doesn't give up on me though. He continues to spam me via email because apparently his witch friend Nadia smashed his phone. The reason she smashed his phone was because she was so mad that I wouldn't do anal with Bob. And he couldn't get another one, so he would email me. I'm sure his wife probably saw something suspicious, and then he just turned everything to email, because email's easier to hide, because who uses their email when they can use text message? And the fucking cringy thing too is, even though at that time I was suffering from really bad hemorrhoids, like to the point where I could only wear like black underwear and pants because my ass was like dripping blood all the time, Nadia said that doing anal would heal my hemorrhoids. You know, the more I think about it, the more I feel like this Nadia person is like a little personality in Bob's head that he made up to try to mock my spiritual beliefs. But Bob looks for every excuse to talk to me, whether it's to tell me that he loves me, whether it is to tell me that my tire pressure is low, because I did leave my car over there, because I was worried that he may put a tracker on my car, and last thing I need is for him to figure out where I was staying. He would actually still walk up to my window and knock on my window at like 6 a.m. trying to get me up to talk to him, and apologizing, saying that like he didn't know what happened, he couldn't control himself, blah blah blah, all this bullshit.
The only reason I know this is because I asked one of my neighbors if they saw a blue hair guy creeping around, and they told me that they did see a blue hair guy creeping around.
Bob was threatening to unalive himself because he couldn't live without me, which is so freaking weird, because there was one point where he was like,
oh, well, since you want stability, you should go hunt for a hot daddy doctor guy. You should become a medical scribe so then you can talk to doctors and potentially hook up with one and marry one.
I mean, part of me would love to marry a doctor, but another part of me actually wants to get married because I like the person and I don't want to be cheated on, because doctors are notorious for cheating on their spouse. I don't want to deal with that. You know, his logic probably was, since my husband would be cheating on me, that I would cheat on my husband with him, which, if I'm gonna cheat on my husband, it's gonna be with somebody that's actually hot and has more money, but I'm not gonna do that, because I just don't want to deal with that. After so many threatening to unalive himself messages, he just stopped talking to me, and I was genuinely thinking, oh, finally, he unalived himself. So I Google his name plus the word obituary, and I find his mom's obituary, which reminds me, his mom had passed while he was stalking me. Bob told me he posted on Reddit about our relationship, asking who the asshole was. In your opinion, who's the asshole? Is it Bob, who is cheating on her wife, using her for her money, and stalking some random ass bitch that wants something to do with him? Or is it me, who's not willing to have sex with him because his mom's dying? According to him, most people on Reddit said that I'm the asshole, which...
What?
Does getting married even mean anything anymore? Anyway, not only did his mom's obituary show how long that Bob had been married for, which at that time was 14 years, it showed the name of Bob's child. That child in his wife's profile photo was not her niece. That was her child that she had birthed herself.
So that's all I'm going to say for this video, because literally I will rant on for another 30 years about this guy, because literally there's just always something. There's just always something I remember. There's just so much cringe to sift through that it's hard to remember it all and try to capture it all into one video. So maybe I'll just like sprinkle it here and there in my daily vlogs, because I guess I'm a daily vlogger now.